Hey there, everybody on YouTube. Pinner and Patriot here to give you a little tour on the underside of my Mustang. It's a little dirty right now. We got some good trails in a couple of days ago. Just rained too. Anyways, just showing you my motor. It's completely bone stock, 3.8. Really good engine. I seem to kind of find everybody loving these motors, mainly because they're not overhead cams. It's just a single normal cam overhead valve engine with push rods. Makes it real easy to do head gaskets on, makes it kind of livable. That's my Dukes of Hazzard horn. Completely stock in here, ain't nothing fancy. Okay, the underside, the suspension, how I did my lift. I got quite a bit of lift. That's probably about 6.5 inches of tire clearance, and I am running a 30-inch tall tire. It's a 235/75 R15, but it comes out to be like 29.8 inches tall, something like that. Anyways, so here's what I did. And pardon the brake duct things, they got pretty broken. Anyways, okay, first off, the strut. See where that little more dark area? That's where I had to cut this collar off the strut and move it down 2 inches. I just welded it all the way around again. So that's the first thing I did. There's just like a little seam weld all at the edges and a little bit at the bottom. I just cut them, moved down the collar. I probably should have done it more than 2 inches, but at least this way it bottoms out before the tire rubs the inside of the fender. So that's good. I got Cobra springs in the front for a V8 car because they have a little bit higher spring rate. And having a V6, it doesn't have the weight of a V8, so it perks up the car. And I also made 2-inch subframe spacers. That is just 2-inch box tubing, 1/8 wall, that I got longer bolts. They go through the subframe, and let's see here if I can get this camera angle right. This subframe part right here, and this frame part, they used to be together, so that spaced about 2 more inches. I also did weld this box tubing just a little bit, just a couple like inch-long beads, just to make sure that nothing really moves around. So that's how I did the front. The struts are completely stock up here. So that's that. The back was even more easy. I still need to get longer shocks. The car tends to top out, not very far. So, anyways, got a welded diffie, 273 gears. And back here, I just made kind of cheap, like 1.25 spacers for the springs. Those are just the old spring spacers for a Ford I-beam. They seem to fit really good. I just got a big, giant washer type plate of steel, put a bolt through it. That's about all I did to the back. The shocks do need to be lengthened. These are stock length shocks, and I think they're about maybe 4 inches too short. Because the car tops out the back quite a while before the front does. So that's it. You know, the lift was very cheap. I've driven it 13,000 miles. The tire wear is very good. Mind you, I do a lot of hard driving, so I'm throwing this thing into corners. I bought these tires new when I lifted the car. It was all kind of one big shooting match the first few days I got it. And there's still about a 1/4 inch of tread left, maybe a little more. Yeah, they tend to wear pretty good. These are the Geolanders, Yokohama. They're great. Oh, and one more thing for the subframe in the back is I did put another piece of square tubing back there too. Got one right there, the bolts going through it, and one right there. And the only other tricky thing, the most you can space the subframe out is 2 inches without lengthening the steering. The steering is pretty much all the way lengthened. There's a little slip collar inside there, a slip yoke. And I had to go under here, this is my steering column, and move the steering column forward about 1/8 of an inch just to take up, some little bit more of the slot from down there. That loosened it up, made it really nice. Otherwise, I've had absolutely no troubles with the car. 13,000 miles later, it's doing wonderful. Back bumper was, there's a tow hitch down there. Freebies just makes a nice little tow hitch for a couple $100. Well, I just welded my back bumper to it. Still got to block off the ends, and I did put a couple little notches in it so I can have it curved to fit the car. See how it's a little bit curved, fits the car perfectly. That's also just a little 12-volt spotlight. That is my reverse light. Front bumper is a little bit more difficult. I went through the car because I wanted everything kind of high up as possible in the front. And even then, you can see I still hit stuff quite a bit. So it goes through, and it goes to a little piece of box tube that's on top of it, and it gets welded to the bumper support, which is steel. It is pretty thin, so I welded a steel strap to the bottom of it to have some kind of downward resistance. So that's it. This is the bumper reinforcement. That's one tube. That's the other tube. That's where it goes through and goes out my car. Let's see here. Other benefits about lifting the car is that I can change my oil very easily without putting jacks underneath it. So that's nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, any more questions? Just respond to the video. All right.